but each book that I've written, I completely changed the way in which I wrote it. Like I
Interesting.
found that what gets me into flow changed each time.
Hmm.
So, this whole idea of writer's block,
Yeah.
it becomes a very interesting thought, whether does writer's block exist, or are you attempting to use the old method, but you're a new
Hmm.
person,
Hmm. Hmm.
So for example, when I wrote Start With Why, I had no TED talk, no following, no nothing. I was just a guy with an idea that
Mhm.
somebody took a risk on me and said, you should write a book.
Mhm.
And so I scaled back my schedule because I was going to, write a book. I was one of the, I actually used my advance to actually pay my bills, you know, because I scaled back my schedule. I wasn't working and my productivity plummeted and I couldn't
Yeah.
figure out why.
Yeah.
And then I realized that I needed the pressure. And I was actually very productive when I would travel because I'd be on a plane and I'd have to get all of my work done before the plane landed or before my battery ran out. This is before they had plugs or Wi-Fi on every seat. And so what I would do is I used to fly to nowhere. So I
Really?
called up the airline. I said, yeah, I used to fly to nowhere. I said, give me a flight that's super cheap. Um, I have to be on the plane at least 3 hours. I don't care where I go, and put me on a day with light loads where my status will get me a free upgrade. And so I would pay like $200 or $300 for maybe less for a ticket. I flew to Phoenix and back. I think I flew to Orlando and back maybe. And I flew to Los Angeles and back all in the same day.
Really?
And I got same thing, got super cheap tickets. And I'd get on the plane. I'd walk to the airport with a laptop under my arm, nothing else. And I'd get on the plane, open the laptop, and just start writing before the battery died. And those were my most productive writing days, were these flights to nowhere. And no distractions, no nothing. There was no,
Yep.
like I said, there was no Wi-Fi on the planes yet. And so I just worked.
Hmm.
So when I had to write Leaders Eat Last, my second book, I was like, all right, start booking tickets.
Tickets, here we go.
I booked a flight, same thing, super cheap, flew to I don't care where. And I was sitting in the taxi on the way to the airport, and I had this horrible, horrible sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach, because what I had neglected was that there was a lot of time that had passed from Start With Why to Leaders Eat Last. And I spent so much time on planes traveling around speaking about the book that I didn't, the thought of getting on another plane, it was horrible. And literally I was in the taxi going to the airport and told the taxi driver, turn around, and I never got on my plane.
Really?
And so I had to find an entirely new way to write for the second book, which didn't work for the third book. So I had to find an entirely new way. So each book I've had, I've been open to reinventing what gets me into flow, which sometimes takes a few weeks. And I think that helps. And I think, where writers get really stuck and beat themselves up and all this writer's block is they forget that who they are, the writer they are, the lifestyle they live for their second, third, fourth work